Good afternoon, I'm the Mainly Digger, and this video is about conducting research or doing research on a site. The site I am using as an example for this video is the old Good Will-Hinckley farm, also now known as, or belongs to the KVCC, Kennebec Valley Community College, the college I attend and I work for. So I am collecting as much historical data as I can to give back to the L.C. Bates Museum. Everything I've found so far, most everything I've found, I've donated back to the L.C. Bates Museum. Anything of historical value. If it's a coin, I'm keeping it. So it is what it is. But if it's of historical value, I've given it to the L.C. Bates Museum, which is a part of the Good Will-Hinckley campus and keeps and tracks everything historical that involves Good Will-Hinckley. That's what I'm getting at. So they have been very useful. The L.C. Bates Museum has given me a lot of information. Also, the local historical societies, Fairfield Historical Society, has given me some information, and Skowhegan Historical Society has given me information about Good Will-Hinckley in general. Also, the Maine Memory Network, which has a lot of photographs. And this is at the point where I will give, if there is a picture, it is from the L.C. Bates Museum. Or if there's an old picture, it's from the L.C. Bates Museum. And even some of the newer pictures are from the L.C. Bates Museum. So how this started, how this research started, and how I thought of this video is I wanted to do a lot of research for this site, because there's a lot to it. There's so much. There's the actual Good Will-Hinckley, what is now the Good Will-Hinckley, and then there's the farm, the Good Will-Hinckley farm, which is where it all started. And there's so much structure that has been taken down, or structures that have been taken down, and you can see it on the satellite image. I use Google Earth, and you can see where the sites have been and where possible sites might be. So I looked at Google Earth, and then I looked at, I can never say this right, historical aerial. For Maine, most of the aerial photos before the 90s aren't that great. But for this site, it goes from like 1956 to the 90s, like that, like nothing. There's nothing in between. So I use the oldest website, or the oldest aerial photo, and kind of, looked at both of them at the same time. And the newest, for the historical aerials, the newest map they have is from, or aerial view is from 2015. So it's interesting. It's fun to look at, and like some of the places, you're like, okay, yeah, that definitely something was there, and it's good to verify that there was something there. So that is fun, and I'll kind of show you the videos in this video as an example. I do as much research as I possibly can, or I don't. Sometimes I just wing it. I like to make sure that, especially if I have there's something in question, I want to know. Without a doubt, I want to know if there is something there. That way when I go there, I'm not poking around and not finding anything at all, which happens whether or not research is done. So mainly to go out, watch this video. This is a actual photo that I took just to show the boundaries of the campus. It is over 600 something acres, there's a lot to it. And if you look up to the left, it goes past the main road and right next to the Kennebec. This photo is from Google Earth Images, and it's the campus itself. So on the left, it is, well, actually, I'll just say it, it's split down the middle, or kind of diagonally down the middle by the road. On the left is the old Good Will-Hinckley farm and what is now KVCC. On the right is Good Will-Hinckley. Cannot touch that with the metal detector, which I'm cool with, I understand. But this is the image that I use to look, or Google Earth is what I use to look to get satellite images. Here are two of the sites I was looking at that are easily spotted. Like, you can easily spot. There's like rectangle. They look like foundations. That's you know, there's definitely foundations that were there. There's even one below it not shown, but those were the easy ones. Historicaerials.com. Anyway, what I'm trying to show in this video is it's the same exact two photos that I've showed before, except this one is from 1956 and the one on the right is from 2015. So there's a lot of buildings that were there in the 50s that aren't there currently and in 2015, which is good for me. I get to go explore that stuff. So I'm just poking around. This house site is the one I did my most research on, because it is the house site that I'm going to be looking at this weekend. Which I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. So I contacted L.C. Bates Museum to see what house this was, because I know a lot of Will-Hinckley will give their houses names, and I want to know if the house predated Good Will-Hinckley, so it would give me a timeline as to when and where, or not where, but when the house was built and what I could find. I know the farm for Good Will-Hinckley was bought around 1880, so that gives me a time frame of what and when the houses were. This photo is from the 60s or 70s. It is of the Nutter house, which is on the right, they used as I don't know what they used it for. It's still around, and KVC uses it as a classroom or teaching area for carpentry. The house I'm interested is on the left. I use this photo to I sent it to the L.C. Bates Museum and the local historical society to give them an idea of what I was looking for, to better explain what I wanted, and it worked. Here also is the house. These two images are from the Maine Memory website, which is attached to the Maine Historical Society in general. The actual photos are from the L.C. Bates Museum. They sent them into the Maine Memory Society, or the Maine Historical Society. This image is from the L.C. Bates Museum directly. It's the image that was sent to me after I directly asked the question, what house was this? Well, the information that I wanted. And they gave me the information with pictures, which is awesome. The Tuttle family was a huge part of Good Will-Hinckley, and I know James Tuttle built a lot of the buildings, and this is an awesome picture. The house is behind it, but the picture itself is awesome. Also from the L.C. Bates Museum and the historical archives of the museum is a picture. This is the picture of the house. So I'm excited about this house. It shows a barn and the house itself. I know the barn was the first to come down, and decades later the house came down. So I don't know how old this picture is, but this is from the on campus of Good Will-Hinckley. It's a cool photo. Using historical maps or views or the website, historical aerial views, or whatever it's called, you can definitely see, without a doubt, this is actually satellite image from Google Earth. This is satellite image from Google Earth, that this is a foundation. It looks boxed. It looks like a box. It's unnatural. It's an unnatural form. There's nothing in nature, mostly, that has forms like this at all. It's a box. You can see the box. I said box like 3 or 4 times. Definitely see it. Anyway, so looking through and at the campus, this is from the 1950s, or 1950s aerial view. I find this. This is definitely not normal. Not something that is man-made. So I did a little investigative work and found out that then it's a cross, obviously, but they call it their evergreen church. It's just a weird thing. It caught my eye. It sent me down a rabbit hole. I had to find out what this was. So it was made in the 30s, and then there was some tree disease, and it just destroyed it. It's not there anymore. Or you can kind of see it from Google Earth, but it's near the World War I memorial, which I wanted to tie it in, but it's not tied in. So metal detecting is about finding relics, mostly. For me, it's about finding history, and this is what I love. This right here is a foundation. It just looks like dirt, but you can see it come around into the actual foundation. And that is awesome. And this is the outline you see from the satellite image from Google Earth. There we go. You can look around, and this is history. This is awesome. I'm gonna stop geeking out and get back to metal detecting. So this might have been a well. You can see there's concrete, and they filled it in. They're definitely concrete. So I was like, okay, I'll do some detecting around the concrete, or around the well, not thinking about the concrete. So I got an amazing signal, and I dig. Turns out it's concrete under there too. So whatever's under there is probably amazing, but it's concrete. Not getting through that.